Thank you, Chair, and congratulations to the Honourable Member for Stockton North for securing this important debate. There are so many horror stories about asylum accommodation in the UK, and so many reasons there is need for independent oversight that it would be possible to cover everything in the time I have. I hope that what I do share gives you an understanding of how outsourcing companies acting like vultures are failing our most vulnerable. I hope that these contracts can be delivered better locally for those who have the interests of the residents at heart. G4S hold a contract in the giant North East England, Yorkshire and Humber region, and they have a home for 14 mothers and 14 babies in my constituency. I was first contacted about the property by the manager of a local children's centre, who described a multitude of issues and unwillingness from G4S to act. On visiting the house, the first thing that struck me was the stickiness underfoot and the smell of urine, the result of an earlier rat infestation which was reported to G4S and ignored. Although the local church stepped in and blocked the rat's entrance to the bedroom, the carpet remained coated in rat urine. The toddler crawling over the carpet had a skin infection. Her mother told me there is nowhere else for her to go. That is not strictly true. Her baby could have crawled in the hallway, where a missing baby gate left a steep set of stairs exposed. G4S had been informed months before. Or perhaps a child could crawl around the kitchen, where rat poison was left on the floor and mould covered every wall. There are other issues in the property, including a lack of cleaning and cooking equipment, which G4S should have provided. After writing G4S in exasperation, I met with the landlord of the property, who stepped in and provided what G4S did not, as well as the maintenance request that G4S had failed to pass on, increasing the profit margin of G4S at someone else's expense. Vermin is a common theme in these properties. Another woman living with a young child reported a mice infestation caused by holes in the walls of the property. G4S refused to be held accountable. Instead of dealing with it, they sent the woman on a training on kitchen hygiene course. After 6 months of complaining, and with multiple open wounds caused by mice biting her face, she went to Leeds City Council, who acted swiftly to solve the problem, a cost that should have been covered by the asylum accommodation contract. However, the public sector had to step in, subsidising the private. And it's not just G4S who are failing. I heard about one young woman in Liverpool who moved in circa-run accommodation to find human faeces smeared on her bedroom wall. She cleaned it, but the cockroaches and rodents were more persistent. These stories represent the dark side of Conservative ideology, a disturbing faith in privatisation outsourcing, no matter the human cost, growing private profits at the expense of the public and the vulnerable. These contracts underline the unwillingness and inability of the private sector to provide safe, habitable accommodation for the most vulnerable in our society. My experience of working with these 14 mothers in my constituency shows the neglectful regime of G4S compared to the generous and loving nature of the City of Leeds and our Labour Council. And I can only thank our Children's Centre, who worked unpaid to support those mothers, the church, who did the jobs the private sectors couldn't, the landlord who stepped in, and my staff and local party members who helped provide basic items that G4S wouldn't.
Would the Honourable Gentleman give way?
I'll give way.
Just very briefly, would the Honourable Gentleman agree with me that in cases such as this, the local authorities ought to be empowered to be able to take over these contracts and oversee them, because this clearly isn't acceptable?
Absolutely not. And I was just coming on to those very points. I thank my honourable friend for raising them. As you said, it's not up to the individual local groups to step in. These contracts cost millions of pounds in public funds, but struggling local authorities expect to step in to prevent homelessness when the private firms cannot fulfil their contracts. Our council are expected to bail out these companies, but are not granted any oversight of the delivery of their contracts, both insulting and impractical, and has created a system lacking in democracy and dignity. Everyone deserves a safe, secure home in this country. These contracts must be revisited, and council and charities must have a central role in ensuring that the safety of asylum seekers are the priority in delivery. There must also be independent oversight of these contracts to ensure that people come before product. Thank you.